Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live again. Doug and I are here to preview the week 20 of the Premier League. I can't believe that we're 20 weeks into the Premier League. I mean, Doug, we're 20 weeks in. What's up with that, man? This year's going by way too fast.
It certainly has. It feels really, really weird for it to be the last sort of games in 2018. But I mean, it's been a fabulous sort of half of the season, and bring on the second half is all I can say.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, by the way, guys, still working out some kinks in the studio. I can see that the camera's a little bit off, but we're working through it. I'm going to probably set up running through a different system here soon. Thinking about making a switch over to maybe using Streamlabs or something like that to try and help with some regularity of where the camera will be and how this will all be. So, like I said, working out kinks, but that's part of, setting up a new studio. You got to work out some kinks. So, but Doug, I'm stoked up to be here with you, man. And let's go ahead and let's jump right into these games. So our very first game of the week is going to be Brighton at Everton, or Brighton and Everton. And honestly, Brighton have been pretty well drilled recently, and Everton are coming off of a huge win. What do you got, man?
Well, you have to look at an Everton win here. Brighton's last victory actually against Everton came in the old First Division in May 1982. So the last 5 games the sides have been 2 draws and 3 wins to Everton. But this is a funny stat as well. Brighton have actually scored in every home game so far this season.
Wow. Honestly, that doesn't surprise me, though, because, Brighton have been that team for me that I feel like I've picked against them a few times to really kind of get their butt kicked, and they've wound up kind of surprising me with some of their results.
Yeah, the only thing I can say, though, is that Brighton will be without Matt Ryan, who has gone on international duty with Australia for the Asia Cup. So their sub-keeper will be coming in. I can't actually remember who their sub-keeper is now. But yeah, does it kind of depend on the result? Do you know what? Everton, fantastic win against Burnley, 5-1. I know Burnley are not in a great run of form at the moment, but Everton were fantastic at Burnley, and even Brighton were fantastic against Arsenal. I think Brighton would feel very unlucky not to actually beat Arsenal because, in my opinion, they were probably the better of the 2 teams in that second half. Arsenal looked really, really shaky, and Brighton played really, really well. So I have to edge towards an Everton victory. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Everton.
2-1 win to Everton. Honestly, I'm not going to be far off from you there. Real quick, just wanted to say hi to Carl, Maria, Spurs fan, good to see you in here again. Pankaz, always good to see you. Jay Hart, good to see you as well. Vandy Candy, I don't know if you're still in here or not. I hope you are. But just wanted to say what's going on to everybody. Happy you guys are all joining us. But for me, Everton, based on their recent run of form, listen, they got their butts kicked by Tottenham. But I feel like Tottenham right now are just absolutely red hot. And, they're second in the Premier League right now. Who would have thought at this point in the season we'd be saying that Tottenham Hotspurs would be the number 2 team in the Premier League? That's absolutely shocking. But for me, I think that Everton are going to come into this game. They're going to continue their hot run of form. And I say that Everton are going to win this matchup 3-1 to Brighton. I don't see a way really that, Brighton will put up a good performance. Like you and I were kind of just talking about. Brighton have been kind of that side that have kind of surprised me a little bit this year at times. And ultimately, though, I think that Everton are just going to be too much for them. They've got players that are on absolutely amazing form. And it's going to be hard for me to pick against a team like Everton that are just really absolutely killing it right now. So let's move on to our next matchup, which is Fulham and Huddersfield. And Fulham still haven't really picked it up, again, with Claudio Ranieri being in charge. Doug, I want to ask you real quick, does that surprise you at all?
It does surprise you a little bit. I know they got their first clean sheet of the season against Newcastle, so they'll pleased to get that. But they will they will be kicking themselves after not beating the Wolves the other week, because I don't know how many chances they had against Wolves, but they should have at least won that game. This is 19th versus 20th. This is a huge game. Whoever wins is out of the bottom three. Now, obviously, you're looking at the last result between these two. Huddersfield beat Fulham 1-0, which ended Slavisa Jukanovic's Fulham managerial career there. If you're looking at past games between Fulham and Huddersfield, actually, the last game that Fulham played against Huddersfield at Craven Cottage, incidentally, was 2016 in the Championship, and Fulham ran out 5-0 winners. So I don't see that one happening, but I think Fulham are going to win this one. The thing with Huddersfield, yet again, against Manchester United, they create chances. They've not got anyone to put the ball in the back of the net. And the other thing is, Kongolo scored. No, actually, it was Jorgensen that scored against United. Another defender. Most of their goals have been either from defence or midfield. None of their strikers have scored this season. So, as a result of that, I'm going for a 2-0 home win for Fulham, and Fulham will be out of the bottom three come the end of that match. So, yeah, Fulham 2, Huddersfield 0, I'm thinking.
You know what? Honestly, I'm going to pick something relatively similar with I think that Fulham are starting to catch on to the game plan of Claudio Ranieri and what he's trying to do with the club. Now, obviously, it still hasn't fully caught on yet. And at the same time, Huddersfield are a very well-drilled team. And you could see it, how well drilled they were against Manchester United this last week. Yeah, we beat them 3-1, but you could see that there were times where they really put a challenge to us, which they do to almost every single team that I've noticed to play against. So ultimately, though, I think this is going to be the game where Fulham are finally going to get onto full form with Claudio Ranieri. I think that Mitrovic will be a hassle for Huddersfield to play against. And then at the same time, you're going to have Ryan Sessegnon, who I think I'm always going to basically predict for Ryan Sessegnon to have a pretty decent game against whoever he's going to play. He's got the pace and the speed and the speed and the tenacity to be able to really match up well with people in the Premier League. So I think Fulham will win this match. I'm going to go with 2-1 personally against Huddersfield. I get that Huddersfield do tend to play well, especially against the bottom sides. But I think that ultimately this is going to be the game where Fulham will finally get their form with Claudio Ranieri, and they'll start finally taking it to other teams. And that, like I said, I was impressed with how Fulham came into the Premier League and they're like, you know what? Let's spend some money. So I've got a little bit of a soft spot right now this season for Fulham, and I hope that they wind up being able to stay up. And I hope that, Doug, that you're right, that Fulham wind up getting out of those bottom three spots. Dan, it is at Fulham. It is at Fulham. So, guys, also, I wanted to say that if you want to get your predictions right out on the stream, be sure to get them put into the chat, and I will read them out for you guys. So, Jay Hart is going with a 3-1 Fulham win. Maria Treadway is going with 1-0 Huddersfield.
Tristan.
Let's see here. Mr. Exclusive went with a 1-0 to Fulham. Is Moy injured? I think that Aaron Moy is still injured, if I remember correctly. So
yes, he is still injured, but I do believe that he has also been called up to the Australia squad, so he will be missing regardless, whether if he's injured or not, or if he's fit. He'll be on international duty with Australia as well. Same with Matt Ryan at Brighton.
That is true. I forgot that with the Australia duty coming into place with the Asian Cup and everything like that. That's a good point. Dan Jones is going with a 2-1 Fulham win. Carl Edgar is going with a 2-0 Fulham win with Mitrovic to score both of them. So it sounds like a lot of people are picking Fulham to win this. So we'll go ahead. We'll move on to our next matchup, which I am a little excited to see, even though I think that Cardiff away is not their strongest suit. They tend not to play well away. But we've got Leicester against Cardiff, and I think this could be a relatively fun matchup. Doug, how do you see it going, my friend?
Leicester, what can we say? Back-to-back wins against Chelsea and Manchester City. Who would have predicted that?
Nobody, Doug. Nobody.
They've just been absolutely terrific. The way they played against Manchester City, obviously going behind very, very early on, you would think, okay, the floodgates will open with Manchester City. But no, Leicester played really, really well. Fantastic winning goal from Ricardo Pereira as well. No, they are really, really playing really well at this present moment. Cardiff, how they did not lose at Crystal Palace, I'll never know. I think Crystal Palace were all over them, and actually Cardiff could have sneaked it at the end as well. So I can't see anything other than a Leicester win. I can't see Cardiff scoring either. I think Leicester will be far too strong, and I've been kind to Cardiff. I've gone 2-0 Leicester, but this is a kind of game where if Leicester are really on form, then it could be a bit of a long day at the office for Cardiff City. But I think Leicester will win 2-0 against Cardiff.
And I'm actually going 2-0 for Leicester as well. I think that Leicester just this season, they're going to be my team that I'm just going to root for them just on the low key because of just a team goes through that kind of tragedy of what happened this season. And it's kind of hard not to have that soft spot in your heart for them. And
yeah,
I mean, they're a team that I ultimately like, and I've said in previous streams, they're the team that all made us believe that the impossible is possible. Nobody thought that a team like Leicester could come in and just win the Premier League, and they did that. So I'm always going to have that soft spot in my heart for Leicester. So I'm going with a 2-0 win. If I remember correctly, Jamie Vardy is back at this point, isn't he?
Yes, if you look at the Leicester City side, it's just fantastic squad. Schmeichel, Maguire, Evans, Chilwell. You've obviously got Pereira. James Maddison has been absolutely fantastic. Jamie Vardy,
Okazaki,
Okazaki. It's a really, really fantastic squad for Claude Puel to pick with, and I think Jamie Vardy is back, which will boost Leicester definitely. So they are really good to watch, Leicester. So I think we're both in agreement that Leicester will probably win this game quite comfortably.
Yeah, because like I was saying earlier, Cardiff, all you have to do is go and look at their form away from home, and they always tend to sit back even more away from home than they even do at home against all the different sides. So I think that they will really struggle in this game. So I'll go ahead and I'll read out some of the predictions that we've got here. So we've got Jay Hart's going with a 1-0 win for Leicester. Vandy Candy, 2-1 win for Leicester. Cardiff always get a long ball goal by hook or crook, which that's fair. That is fair.
That is very true. That is very true. Callum Patterson seems to pop up with a few as well. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Cardiff nick one either.
Yeah, I agree with you. And funny enough, we've been talking recently about if De Gea is to leave, the goalkeeper I've forgotten about is Schmeichel playing there at Leicester. And honestly, I don't think that's a bad shout for a keeper that if De Gea leaves, which for the love of God, David, please don't ever leave us. Please don't. We will be dead without you. Not literally. Obviously, Manchester United are bigger than one player. But for the love of God, David, please don't leave us. But Schmeichel actually wouldn't be a bad shout to bring in and potentially replace him. So that's just my personal opinion, though. let's see here. So we've got Maria's going with a 2-0 win for Leicester as well. Dan Jones is going with 3-0 for Leicester. Spurs fan is going 1-1. I think that's going to be everybody. All right, so let's go ahead and let's move on. Sorry, guys. We've got next up. Ooh, this will be a fun matchup. We've got Spurs against Wolves, with Spurs being the home team. Doug, we've talked about this before. Wolves tend to play up to the top six and play up to them well. So I think this matchup is actually going to be pretty difficult. How do you see it going?
Spurs, what can we say? 6-2 against against Everton. I mean, that was absolutely superb.
Yep.
The attacking quality as well in that team. Eriksen, Kane. Heung-min Son has been fantastic as well. And then obviously they follow that up with a 5-0 against Bournemouth. So it's 11 goals in 2 games. Wolves, bit fortunate to get a point against Fulham. A bit of against the road of play, but apart from that, they are very, very well structured under Nuno Espirito Santo. I think with it being at Wembley, I remember the game at Molineux, and Spurs went into a 3-0 lead, and then obviously Wolves came back with 2 penalties. So these are really fun games to watch, but I have to go with Tottenham. They're in very, very hot form at the moment.
Yes.
And they can close the gap to Liverpool 3 points before they play, obviously, Arsenal in the evening game. I think Spurs will score another few. But I see Wolves getting a goal as well, because Wolves seem to score a lot of goals at the moment. So I'm going for a 3-1 to Tottenham.
And that's a very fair result based on the fact that Wolves do, like I said, they do tend to play up against the top 6. And then on top of the fact that the Wolves are in pretty decent form right now. For me, I'm going to go with a 3-2 Spurs victory. I think that Wolves will come in and they will score a couple of goals. But I think that ultimately the quality of Tottenham will supersede whatever is going on that pitch, because they do have overall better players in their side. And I think that we will see Spurs come away from this game with the win. And I even could see the potential for them basically going up 2-0, maybe getting a goal allowed against them, and then they go and score another goal. And then for the most part, it's comfortable the rest of the way through. And maybe like in the late minutes of the game, maybe even into stoppage time, Wolves nick another goal back. But I think that ultimately Tottenham just have too much quality for Wolves to be able to sustain them for that long. And especially with how hot Tottenham Hotspurs have been, I cannot pick against them right now. I mean, like you just said, Doug, you're talking about a 6-2 and then a 5-0. I'm not going to pick against a team that's done that in back-to-back games. You're talking 11 goals in 2 games. That's absolutely insane. So Tottenham Hotspurs to win this, and I think they win it 3-2. I could even see them going as high as 4-2 based on their current run of form. And honestly, nothing would surprise me about Tottenham right now at the moment. They're just playing red hot football. So we've got Spurs fan. Of course, the Spurs fan's going to go 4-0. I like it. I like the belief in your team. I really do. Vandy Candy's going Spurs 4-2. Golasso game, which that's very true at a 4-2 like that. Jay Hart's going 2-1. Dan Jones is going 3-1. Maria's going 3-2 Spurs. Myron is going 2-0 Spurs. And then Mr. Exclusive's going 5-1 Spurs. I love it. And then Vandy Candy did say Son will play his last game against us before leaving for the Asia Cup, which that is true. And that is very interesting that we are going to get his last game for, I think that the Asia Cup lasts for a few weeks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it lasts. I think it's 2 to 3 weeks. So Spurs will miss him, but
definitely
they've got a really good replacement in Lucas Moura.
Yes, that is true. They've got Lamela as well that can come in and step up and do a job. And then you can always rotate Eriksson out to the wings and stuff like that instead of playing him at the 10 and let Dele Alli kind of play at the 10, which I feel like is where where Dele Alli tends to be more comfortable. Does tend to be, I should say that. But ultimately, I will be interested to see how this game winds up because Wolves do play so well against the top 6. But we'll move on to our next matchup, which is Watford against Newcastle. And in all honesty, I'm not going to pick against Watford in this game. Doug, how do you see it going, my friend?
Well, Newcastle have never won at Vicarage Road in the top 9. So, and Watford have won 4 out of the last 5 against Newcastle.
Wow.
So, very unlucky to lose to Chelsea. Roberto Pereira's volley against Chelsea was absolutely stunning.
Yes.
It's a short corner that Watford play. Holebas plays the ball to the edge of the box, and Pereira's there, and it's a half volley. It is absolutely sweet as anything. It goes past Kepa, and then obviously, Chelsea won 2-1 against Watford, but Watford will feel like they played really, really well in that game. Very, very unlucky to lose. Newcastle, they lost 4-0 the time out against Liverpool. There's more bad news that apparently Mike Ashley is on holiday now for the rest of the year. So if any Newcastle fans wanted the club to be sold before that does not look like happening now. So I really feel for Rafa Benitez. I really do. Newcastle are they're just one of those teams where you really want them to do well. But unfortunately, like you said, I cannot see past Watford in this game. I think it'll be narrow. I think it'll be a tight one. I think Newcastle will go there to defend, put 10 men behind the ball, and obviously pick them off at the counter-attack or on the break. I'm going to go for a narrow 1-0 Watford win.
Honestly, I think that you're about right in there. I personally am going to go with a 2-0 win for Watford. And like Doug was just saying, Newcastle, I've told you guys a story before about how I met a guy that is from the area, and he is a massive Newcastle fan, still managed to watch all their games here in the States, in Arizona, with having Newcastle when they got relegated. And that to me just said everything about his fandom. I can't wait to I really hope that Newcastle do manage to turn things around. I've got that I actually don't know if you guys knew this or not, but I actually wound up doing a fan cam for the Magpie channel for Newcastle when I went to the Newcastle Manchester United match. So I actually really appreciate them. Giving me the time, and they let me kind of talk about my trip and my experience, which was really nice of them. So I've got that little bit of a soft spot, but at the same time, Newcastle just are not on good form at the moment. They went through that little bit of a good run of form, Doug, where they started kind of pulling out some results, but now it's like their form is dipped again, and they just can't manage to buy a win. So I personally am going 2-0 for Watford. Watford are, like you said, right now they're in pretty good form, and especially after the Chelsea match. And I think that ultimately Watford's overall quality in their side will stand through. So we've only got a few different people that gave us their predictions. So Vandy Candy went for a 2-0 to Watford. He said Newcastle are horrible. Yeah. Dan Jones went with 1-1. Jay Hart went with a 2-0 for Watford. And then Maria went with a 3-1 win for Watford. Best Mate is a Newcastle fan and know how passionate their fans are about their club. Yeah, Dan, I completely agree. The fans for Newcastle are I will say this: the fans that were leaving on the buses, they were kind of what's the best way to put it? They were angry. They might have been making some gestures. They weren't very nice as they were leaving on their buses to go back home. But I get it when you think that you're going to win a match and then winds up that Manchester United come back and beat you. It's happened to better teams before, in fairness. But at the same time, I can't help but I would feel for a team in that scenario. So I think Watford win this match personally, and I think they win it pretty handily. So Doug, now we move on to your team playing the last match of the day on Saturday. We've got Liverpool against Arsenal. Doug, go ahead. If you want to dive into this game a little bit more, you're welcome to. But I think this will be an interesting matchup.
Well, I have some big news, and I think everyone would have probably seen it. Mesut Ozil has not travelled with the Arsenal squad for the match at Anfield, which will raise further questions over his Arsenal future. And as I was saying to you before we went live, Emery does not fancy Ozil at all.
Yeah,
I think you saw it in Brighton. He was substituted at halftime. I think people are. I think there's a lot of reports saying it's for tactical reasons that he's been left out. But yeah, I mean, we obviously spoke about Ozil as well. But any time he's been playing for Arsenal against Liverpool, he's kind of gone missing. I'm not actually I've not noticed him at all. So, Liverpool are in hot form. I think they've won eight on the trot as well. I expect them to make it 9 on the trot. Arsenal were so lucky not to lose to Brighton. And to be honest, their form is a bit patchy at best. I know they won 3-1 against Burnley, and then obviously 1-1 against Brighton. But having said that, it's one of those games. Arsenal actually, if you're looking at Arsenal's last victory at Anfield, it came back in 2012 when everyone's favourite Robin scored 2 past Pep Reina in a 2-1 victory. But since then, Arsenal have been thrashed 5-1, 4-0, 3-1. There's been a 2-2, there's been a 3-3 as well. Arsenal have a really poor record against Liverpool at Anfield, and quite frankly, I can't see anything other than a Liverpool win. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, Arsenal defence is really shaky. I mean, I think they're having to play. I think they're playing Socrates and Koscielny at cinema. I mean, I've seen a lot of fan cams with Arsenal fan TV, and people are saying that Koscielny is finished. So obviously, they've lost Holding, Koscielny and Socrates. I mean, Socrates is a good player. Don't get me wrong, but if you play Granit Xhaka as centre back, then that's an accident waiting to happen. So, I have to say, I think Arsenal will get a goal, but having said that, I just think we'll be far too strong for them. So I'm going for a 3-1 win to the mighty Reds.
Cool. Calm down over there, Doug. Okay, we can't have that much fan. I'm just kidding, obviously. But in all seriousness, though, Liverpool are obviously in fantastic form at the moment. You cannot deny that. And in all honesty, for us United fans that were calling for certain things with a previous manager to happen back after the Newcastle match, I think that if that had happened back then, we might be closer in terms of being to the top of the table now than we are currently at the moment. Obviously, those things did not happen. We're in the position that we're in, and we have to move on from that. But I think that ultimately, Liverpool's quality on their attacking talent. When you talk about the fact that you've got Shaqiri coming off the bench and being an absolute terror for everybody. You've still got obviously your front three of Mane, Salah, and Firmino. That's a really hard front three to stop. And then you add in the fact that just the entire team is on great form right now. Arsenal just really are not on great form at the moment. But what I will say is that Arsenal have played up to their competition. They've played well against City. They played well against Tottenham. I remember like going back to those games that they did play well against. So if I remember correctly, you guys played each other first game of the year, correct?
The first game of the year actually was. I'm just trying to think. Actually, I'm just trying to think. They drew 1-1 with us in, I think it was October, and
That's what it was.
That was a game where Arsenal actually played really, really well against Liverpool. Unlucky not to actually win that one. So, yeah, I think Arsenal they've done very, very well. They beat Tottenham. They've obviously got a 2-2 with you guys at Old Trafford. Again, they'll be wondering how they did win that game. But,
yep.
And yeah. I just think away from home against the top six, they do need to improve. That's somewhere they do need to improve. They've already lost to Chelsea. They've obviously drawn with Manchester United as well. But yeah, I just think it's that sort of coming back to Anfield. But having said that, Unai Emery has got previous with Jurgen Klopp, obviously, the 2015-2016 Europa League final. Sevilla obviously won that 3-1 against Liverpool. And obviously Emery was manager of Sevilla then. So, this would be a very interesting game. Aubameyang scares me.
As well he should.
He's in hot form as well. So I think, that's where I think they may pick us off. Is Aubameyang could get a goal or a couple, but we'll see. But I'm sticking with my original prediction. But I'm looking forward to the game because both of these sides play some really good football.
Yeah, and obviously I'm not trying to change your mind on your prediction. I mean, like at the same, like I said, obviously you guys are in crazy hot form right now. But I think that Emery is going to have the team well drilled, and they're going to be up for a match like this. I mean, you talk about if you're not up for a match like that, I would question whether you deserve to be playing the game. But ultimately, Arsenal are also playing the way that they, like fans have been wanting them to play. Obviously, their quality overall is not there in terms of their defensive talent. But let me put it this way: there's a reason why there was many Manchester United fans going back to last season that wanted Aubameyang to come to Manchester United and be the new striker, and we're seeing those reasons now as he's playing for Arsenal and seeing how well he's playing. I'm pretty sure that he is the leading goal scorer at the moment in the league at 13. It's either 13 or 14.
Yeah, he's the leading goal scorer, and then Mohamed Salah is just under him. So yeah, it's basically two of the hot properties of the goal scoring. So yeah, Aubameyang versus Salah will be very interesting. I just don't see Arsenal's defence coping with our front three though. That's the only thing I'll say about that one.
Yeah, no, and listen, I agree with you, but ultimately this might be just me being a Manchester United fan, and I want Liverpool to start dropping some points. But I'm going to pick a 2-2 draw at Anfield between Arsenal and Liverpool. I think that with Arsenal they will be up for a match like that. You're not going to have Mesut Ozil on the side, which whether that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing for them, I guess we will see. But at the end of the day, I think that Arsenal will be drilled enough and be ready for a match like that, and they will pull off a big result. And besides, we have to start picking opposite each other somewhere, right, Doug? At the end of the day, though, I mean, it should be an interesting matchup to say the least. So Jay Hart is going for a 3-2 to Arsenal. I love it. I love the United fandom there. We've got Dan Jones with a 4-1 for Liverpool. Maria's going 3-3. I actually think that would be a very fun match right there. Vandy Candy's going with a 3-2 Liverpool. Hopefully Arsenal can sneak a draw. Vandy, I agree with you 100%. Jay Hart said Emery wants his players to keep going on runs and never stand still, which is not Ozil's style. You're absolutely right on that.
I totally agree with that. Totally agree.
Then Pankaj is going for a 2-2 draw for Liverpool. And listen, ultimately I agree that there's a reason why I was like kind of meh about Ozil coming in and playing for Mourinho. Now that Mourinho's gone, don't even bring him in. I don't want anybody over the age of 29 coming into Manchester United anymore. I think it just is against what the club should be doing, especially since we're not in a title race. I think Ozil, if he is on the move, he will be moving to a club that is in contention to do something. That's just me personally. But let's go ahead and let's move on to our first matchup of the day for Sunday, which is Crystal Palace at Chelsea. Crystal Palace are actually in some red-hot form at the moment, and Chelsea are kind of struggling. So, I mean, Doug, how do you see this game going?
If Chelsea lose at Palace on Sunday, it'll be the first time that they have lost consecutive away matches at Crystal Palace in the top flight. It'll be an interesting one. Actually, Palace have won 2 out of the last 4 meetings with Chelsea as well. It's a very tricky place to go to, Sellers Park. Yet, like you say, Palace will be kicking themselves up how they did not beat Cardiff. They were absolutely superb, and how they didn't score was beyond me. But yeah, like you say, they beat Manchester City 3-1 and 3-2. Sorry, 3-2, and they did not look out of place at the Etihad. They
did
played
not.
really well. Andros Townsend's goal is probably the goal of the season so far. Without a shadow.
I would agree with that. That's definitely almost like, but this is just obviously probably me as a Manchester United fan, but that was on the level. It was probably a little bit below, but it's just because of Paul Scholes, but it's just on that level with Paul Scholes' goal. That was absolutely fantastic. Like, just technique. He could not have hit that more perfect. Literally could not have hit it more perfect.
Absolutely. And another player that deserves a lot of credit is Wan-Bissaka, who's really, really impressed me this season. A young and upcoming right back for Palace. He was absolutely superb against Manchester City, and he's been a very good player for Crystal Palace this season. I know he got sent off earlier in the season against Liverpool, but since then he's came back and he's played fantastic. Palace are a really well drilled side. They've got a good midfield. You've got Milivojevic, you've got Townsend, you've got Max Meyer as well, and then obviously you've got Jordan Ayew to come in as well, and then obviously you've got Wilfred Zaha. But here's an interesting stat: Wilfred Zaha has only scored 1 goal and assisted 3 goals in his last 10 appearances in the Premier League. So he is not on form at the moment, Mr. Zaha. So I think Palace will give Chelsea problems. I think Chelsea were lucky to beat Watford, in all honesty. They badly needed a striker in January for Chelsea. I mean,
yeah.
Morata and Giroud. Morata has not worked for me.
I think it's a bit of an understatement.
Yeah, I think it kind of says it all when you're playing Eden Hazard at false 9 as well. So, I think do you know what? I was toying to and fro in between this game. I was going with a draw, and then I was going with a Chelsea win, and then I was going with a Palace. It's a really, really tough one to predict, but Chelsea have not lost because this will be obviously the first time they would lose consecutive matches. I don't see Chelsea losing, but I think Palace will give them a really good game. I think they may get a goal going at half time, 1-0 up, and then obviously try and defend the lead. But I just think Chelsea with Hazard. Obviously, Hazard getting his 100 and 101st goals, he will be buoyed to, add 102, 103, and so on. So I'm going to go for a Chelsea away win, but like I said, I would not be surprised if Palace get a point or even beat Chelsea. But my prediction is 2-1 to Chelsea.
And honestly, that's not a bad prediction at all. So I actually like this comment from Jay Hart. He said, "I like that name. Wan-Bissaka sounds like a Star Wars character." It does a little bit, doesn't it? Wan-Bissaka. That sounds a little bit like a Star Wars character. But I actually am going to say that Crystal Palace, I don't think they're going to beat Chelsea. I think that they will pull off the draw, though. I think that the current run of form that Crystal Palace are on, and the fact that I think things are starting to go a little bit wrong at Chelsea, and this is where a team's true strength is tested. When things are starting to go a little bit wrong, how are you going to react? And I think that Crystal Palace are going to pull off the draw in this match. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I think that
I think that's fair. I think that's fair because Chelsea are really struggling for consistency at the moment, and I think you could be right. I mean, like I said, I was to and fro in between this game, but here is something that will make you laugh. Arsenal are apparently wanting Gary Cahill on loan for 6 months in January from Chelsea.
We were talking about that off stream, man, and I don't understand it. I mean, I get getting veteran leadership, somebody that understands how the Premier League works, but I think that Gary Cahill is pretty much finished in terms of his time at top flight clubs. I know that there was the rumors that we were talking about bringing him in, and I would have lost my mind if that had happened. I'm like another Chelsea reject. Like that would make sense. But I once again another fantastic comment here from Dan Jones. Morata is Fernando Torres Chelsea version 2.0. In all honesty, I mean, Doug, I think that Arsenal would probably be better suited to try and go get Phil Jones to play in their defense than Gary Cahill. At least you know that Phil Jones is going to throw his body about a little bit. And with Drotty's trying to start up Phil Jones FC, I mean, maybe Drotty will wind up going with Phil Jones FC. For a bit. Obviously, he's trying to make you laugh. Do not actually believe that he is real Phil Jones FC. He's having a bit of fun. But in all reality, guys, just this Crystal Palace match, I'm going to go with the 1-1. I just got that feeling Crystal Palace are going to pull off that little bit of extra, and Manchester United are going to keep sneaking up. They're going to keep going. And Doug, just to ask you the question, because we've already talked about the two teams that are above us right now. Do you think top four is still on for Manchester United?
Absolutely. I mean, my top four actually at the start of the season, before the season started, was Manchester City, ourselves, Tottenham, and Manchester United. So yeah, I do think the top four is still on for Manchester United. And actually, were Arsenal to lose to Liverpool and United to beat Bournemouth, then United would only be 3 points behind Arsenal.
Wow. It's crazy to think about, right? From where we were to where we are now. And guys, you obviously heard me say it in my last stream. Top four is still on. I 100% believe that. So it will be interesting to see how this rest of the season will go, having Ollie Ball at Manchester United, knowing that we're going to get good attacking football. And Doug, just to ask you another question, obviously we'll get you on for the Manchester United and Liverpool preview again, but seeing these last two games, you as an opposing team's fan, are you worried about Manchester United again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to be when you're going to Old Trafford, because our recent record at Old Trafford is pretty pathetic actually. So yeah, man, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like you say, Ollie Ball. I like that. Ollie Ball. So obviously we've got Ollie Ball, and then we've got Sarri. Obviously we had Sarri Ball, and then we've got Ollie Ball.
Yes,
love it.
Yes,
love it.
Ollie Ball's the real ball you want to be playing. Let's be real about it.
Well, I mean, like you say, I mean, Chelsea don't seem to be going anywhere at the present moment, and obviously Manchester United under Ollie are going somewhere at the moment. So, yeah, I love that. I love that. Just wait, obviously, until Manchester United come up against Chelsea. Then it is Ollie Ball versus Sarri Ball.
Yeah, it kind of is funny, right? But let's go ahead. Let's start moving on, because we are almost 45 minutes in. We've still got 3 matches to go. So next up, we've got Burnley against West Ham. and West Ham are in some crazy, crazy hot form at the moment. So, Doug, how do you see it going, man?
West Ham have been superb. They're sitting 9th in the Premier League table. They're probably going to go further and further, I think. I think this is the time that West Ham could finally say that they're back. Felipe Anderson has been a fantastic signing for West Ham.
Yes,
and another
he has.
signing who went under the radar, obviously from goalkeeping signings this summer. Fabianski has been a terrific signing for West Ham.
You know, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a great point. He has been a fantastic signing for him.
And Declan Rice pledged his future to West Ham today as well. So, Burnley, what can we say about them? You know, a shadow of last season's team. They just keep conceding goals. Conceded 3 against Arsenal. They conceded 5 against Everton. They've got a really leaky defence, and you know, if it hadn't been for Joe Hart, you know, they would have been on some real hidings this season. Burnley, you would expect them to, you know, be overjoyed at playing at home this weekend, but unfortunately, you just don't see where a goal is coming or even a win. And you have to actually question Sean Dyche's future as well at Burnley. But like you say, West Ham, fantastic win against Southampton. I know they had to ride their luck a little bit, but obviously Fabianski saved their bacon, as we can say.
Yeah.
West Ham have been in superb form. I can't see anything other than an away victory, so I'm going for a 2-0 win to West Ham. And don't be surprised if Anderson scores again, because he got a double against Southampton. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a double against Burnley again. He is some player at the moment, Felipe Anderson.
Oh, he really is. And Pankaj even said, he's like, I wanted Felipe Anderson at Manchester United. And I don't think that he would have been the only one in that either. But, I mean, I personally, I agree with you. And what Dan Jones just said, what I was thinking, I think that Burnley really are going to be in a fight to get relegated for the rest of the season. And it's weird because you think about a team that went from playing in the Europa League to now it's like they're a completely different team than they were last year. And I think that West Ham's quality is going to outshine against Burnley. And I think that West Ham will pull out the win. I think that they're going to go 3-1 to Burnley. Then we'll see here. We've got, I want to scroll up real quick. So we've got Dan Jones went 3-1 to West Ham. Vandy Candy's going 1-0 to West Ham. A lot of injuries for West Ham at the moment. And Burnley are struggling, which that's a good point. That is a good point. Let's see. Jay Hart said West Ham is starting to gel together. I'll go 3-1 for West Ham. Pankaj is going 5-1 for West Ham. Big prediction there from Pankaj.
That would be 13 goals in 3 games if that result was to be proven. So yeah, Burnley are leaking goals left, friends. And actually, you said that they were in the Europa League. I think the Europa League has really hampered them because
it has.
They clearly did not have the squad to actually deal with that competition.
No, they did not, and it goes to show what a difficult competition the Europa League is. It's not like, don't get me wrong, Champions League isn't easy either, but I feel like playing later in the week like that and then having to try and recover that quickly is very, very hard on any team. So I think that ultimately West Ham pull out this win. We've got Maria. She says 2-1 to West Ham. Myron said 3-1 with Chicharito scoring all 3 goals. I'd love that. That'd be hilarious. I love my Chicharito. I hate him when he's playing Team USA, but I love him as a player away from Mexico. But let's go ahead and let's move on to our second to last matchup of the day. Southampton against Manchester City. And I know that Southampton obviously did not win against West Ham, but Southampton are playing very well under their new manager. So, Doug, is that going to make a difference for you, considering the fact that City are in absolutely abysmal form at the moment?
They're in freefall. I mean, considering that they lost to Chelsea, they've obviously gone on to lose to Palace and Leicester. So they've lost 3 out of the last 4 games, which is definitely not City form. But one person who has missed all 3 games, Fernandinho. I think Manchester City really struggle without Fernandinho in that team when he's not there.
I agree. It just goes to show what a CDM like that can do.
Absolutely. Fernandinho is a really fantastic player, and he's obviously. I'm not sure if he's back at the weekend, but
I don't know either.
But obviously, if he's missing a game, then City tried. They tried Gundogan at CDM. They even tried John Stones at CDM against Palace, and that clearly didn't work because Palace ran rings around Stones. Southampton, like you say, they've been playing really, really well. Obviously, 3-1 win at Huddersfield, and then obviously, a bit unlucky to lose to West Ham last night. They played very, very well. Just Fabianski was in hot form in that West Ham goal. St Mary's will be buzzing. They'll fancy their chances against Manchester City. Manchester City are not in great form at the moment. But having said that, I just feel with the 2 teams, City do have players that can hurt you, and Pep will probably have them all fired up, and they'll want to bounce back, and I think they will bounce back. But having said that, I do expect Southampton to score because City have not kept a clean sheet in their last 9 games, which is absolutely stunning considering that Ederson won the Golden Glove last season.
I thought De Gea won the Golden Glove last season.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because that's right. Because Ederson was just under De Gea. My apologies.
That's okay.
But I have to say that I think City will win this one pretty comfortably, and I do think Southampton will score to get. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 1-1 at the break or something, and then obviously City will probably pull through there. I just think their class will show in this game. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Manchester City. And actually, Manchester City have a decent record against Southampton. Actually, I was thinking that the last defeat for Manchester City at St Mary's was actually Roberto Mancini's final season, and they lost 4-2. And Sadio Mane got a hat-trick that day. So, yeah.
So, ultimately, I think that City are going to start to bounce back eventually. It's not a matter of if, it's when. And I actually agree completely with Vandy Candy just said. He said, knowing how Pep scouts, they'll land a $25 million super CDM signing nobody's ever heard of, which I actually could believe that in all honesty. And that if things aren't going well for Pep, that money is going to be spent. You just know that's going to be the case. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them buy 2 or 3 players in this late run. And I actually agree as well with AFAF that they said City and Guardiola are surely aiming to try and win the Champions League this year, which, again, that's another comment I completely agree with. I think that they will be aiming to try and win the Champions League because if I remember correctly, I don't even remember correctly, I know for a fact they have not won Champions League ever in their history. I think they're going to be favoring their chances to do that this year. So I ultimately am going to go with City winning this game 2-0. I think that they will keep a clean sheet in this one. I don't know if Fernandinho is back, But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to matter. I think that the quality that City have in comparison to Southampton is going to come through. And I'll tell you this, if they win again, I will be absolutely – if they lose again, I will be absolutely shocked. I will be absolutely shocked because there is no excuse for a team that has the quality of Manchester City to lose 3 straight matches. There's no excuse for it. So we'll move on to – actually, no, I'm sorry. We'll see if we got anybody that made predictions here. Vandy Candy's going for 4-1 to City. It's time they come back is what they said. Dan Jones is going for 2-0 City. Pancaz is going 2-1 Southampton. Ooh, big prediction there. I like it.
Wow.
Jay Hart said, I still go for City win 3-0. Southampton won't be able to fend off City's attack. I completely agree. Dan Gray, thank you for the compliment on the shirt. American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, you already know what's up. Bullet Club, too sweet, baby. Let's see here. Watch City get De Jong from Ajax in January. Yeah, I could see something like that happening, right? But AFAF said, but Andrew, we're going to win the Champions League. For sure. I mean, obviously, guys, Ollie Ball is here to stay, and we're winning the Champions League. What you don't know is that Liverpool are going to start dropping points like crazy, and we're going to win the league. We're actually going to win the treble, guys. That's what you really don't know. Shh. Keep it low-key. We don't want anybody to know. The Liverpool fan's on here, but he's got his ears plugged right now, and he's not actually hearing it. So, obviously, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys. But I think that it'll be interesting to see how the Champions League will go this year, especially considering the fact that Manchester United are back to playing at such a high level. And speaking of Manchester United, we're on to our very last match. Manchester United against Bournemouth. Manchester United home again. And I'm not going to give you guys too much. Obviously, I'm going to have my preview. I'm going to be doing my preview tomorrow. And honestly, I actually wanted to ask you guys a question since I know many of you that are watching right now, and I know Doug is here and he respects all of my shows. So, guys, what would you think about if we did a special show tomorrow around 7 p.m. UK where we would talk about who should be the new captain of Manchester United? Just do a completely special show, and I think that we might even open up the phone lines a little bit too and let people call in if they wanted to. But at the very least, we'd have multiple guests. What do you guys think of that? Would you like to see a show like that? Let me know in the chat because I think that could be a very interesting show to say the least. I mean, Doug, would you being a Liverpool fan, obviously, you know, it probably isn't the same for you, but I mean, would you be interested in hearing something like that?
Absolutely, because I saw that you retweeted something saying that United should do what they did to Roy Keane to Antonio Valencia and rip his contract up. I totally agree.
Yep.
You know, I know Solskjaer wants Valencia as captain, but he doesn't really strike me as captain material.
He's not,
and the fact he doesn't speak English either.
Yep. No, I completely agree. And I think that doing a show where we would talk about who should be the captain of Manchester United, I think that would bring a hell of a debate into question because I think everybody's got a different opinion on who should be the new captain. I mean, obviously there's people that are in the Pogba camp. There's going to be some people that are going to say David De Gea. There's going to be other people that maybe will say somebody like Ander Herrera. I mean, I think that you're going to have a lot of varying opinions on who should be the new captain. And ultimately, I think that everybody deserves the right to have their opinion heard. So I think that it'd be really interesting to hear who everybody thinks should be captain. But it seems like for the most part, we're getting some hell yes. So we very well might do that. I'll talk with some of my confidants guys and see if which my confidants are Matthew and Mr. Exclusive, in case you didn't know already. But we'll see what we can do. We'll see if maybe we can't pull a show out for you guys tomorrow on top of doing a Manchester United preview. So we'll see. We'll see. But Doug, go ahead, jump into the Manchester United match. How do you think it's going to go, and how do you see the result going?
Well, Manchester United, 2 fantastic victories against Cardiff and Huddersfield. And I honestly don't care about people saying, oh, you know, it's just Cardiff, it's just Huddersfield. You beat the teams that are put in front of you.
Yep.
Okay, that is what you do. I think that Ollie Solskjaer's really got his playing. It's really, really good to see. And the fact is that Paul Pogba has got a new lease of life. His performance against Huddersfield was absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
He could and very well could have had a hat trick against Huddersfield, but I think it's the second goal where he's basically just sort of curled it into that bottom left-hand corner
from about 20 yards out.
It was just fantastic finish. Obviously, they switch off at the end for the. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanting that clean sheet so badly. Bournemouth, I know they've given Manchester United problems sometimes, obviously in the past couple of years, but, Manchester United are on good form. Bournemouth are not on great form, and actually, they were really well and truly beaten by Tottenham by 5-0. So, this may well be a good time to play Bournemouth. Bournemouth will probably get this run of the top 6, top 7 teams out of the way as soon as possible, because they've if you think of the teams that they've played Liverpool, they've played Arsenal, they played Chelsea, they've played Manchester United. I think they played Manchester City as well. So. And they've obviously played Tottenham as well. So, I think
it's been a crazy run for them, man. It really has. It makes you feel a little bit bad for them. But, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, Manchester United, they just got to basically beat the teams that are put in front of them. And obviously Sanchez is back. Lukaku will be back as well. I think you said actually everyone is meant to be back tomorrow. So that's pretty good. So obviously we'll probably see your strongest 11 on Sunday. I'm actually really looking forward to this game. I think Bournemouth are a good football inside. Eddie Howe gets them playing really well. They've got some good players, obviously, in Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser, Jefferson Lerma, and obviously at the back you've got obviously Charlie Daniels, Steve Cook. But their club captain is out for the rest of the season. He's torn his cruciate ligament. He did that against Tottenham, so he's out for the rest of the season, which is a massive blow. Obviously, they've also got Sergio Rico to come in, and then obviously you've got Begovic in goal as well, who actually kept the score pretty low. I know it finished 5-0, but to Tottenham, but it could have been a lot worse than that. I just think Manchester United are on hot form, and this is a really good run of games. Obviously, they've beaten Cardiff, they've beaten Huddersfield. You've got Bournemouth on Sunday, and then you've got Newcastle, then you've got Reading, and then obviously the big test come, which is at Wembley against Tottenham on the 13th of January. So, I fully expect Manchester United to win this game, and I do fancy Bournemouth to score again, though, unfortunately. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to the Red Devils, but don't be surprised if they get more than 3, because Bournemouth have been on really poor form at the moment and shipping goals left, right and centre again. So, yeah, I'm going 3-1 to Manchester United.
Yeah, and like Vandy Candy just said, I think their recent dip in form is more down to the fixtures more than it is to their actual team. But I think I ultimately am picking 3-1 Manchester United as well. I think that, at the current moment, we can't really keep out goals, at least one goal. So I'm going 3-1. But guys, I'm not going to give you any more than that because I still need to do a show tomorrow for Manchester United exclusively. So I'm going to leave it there at that. And honestly, we're a little over an hour in, so I think it's about time to start wrapping it up anyways, because it's 10:30 there for you guys. So I'm sure people are getting tired as well. So, Doug, I really appreciate you joining me, man. I did make sure to link both of your Twitter links in the description below. But, Doug, is there anything you want to shout out, my friend?
Well, from next season onwards, I know I don't use my YouTube channel a lot, but I will be doing Premier League predictions on my YouTube channel. So if everyone wants to subscribe to that, then that'll obviously be starting up next July, sort of August time. I'm still trying to get still trying to get sort of a schedule in towards that. But yeah, I'm going to try and start using my YouTube channel a lot more. And like I said, I can't believe that this is the last fixtures of 2018, and then obviously the first fixtures on New Year's Day, and then obviously we're in 2019. So
crazy, man.
But it's absolutely crazy. But obviously, follow my Twitter at _992, or you've got the my radio show as well, and I'm obviously back in January for that as well. But it's been a pretty hectic 2018. It's been a brilliant 2018, and yeah, bring on the new year. And I would like to wish everyone, including you, Andrew, a very happy new year for when it comes, and all the best for 2019. And see you on the other side. I'm sure I'll tweet on Hogmanay at like midnight, obviously UK time, and then obviously I will do that. But yeah, obviously have a good New Year when it comes, and all the very best for the new year. And obviously it's a very big year for you, Andrew, as well, for you and your wife having a baby, and then obviously your new job as well. So
yeah,
best wishes, my friend.
I really appreciate that, Doug. Thank you very much for the kind wishes, man. I really do appreciate it. But guys, obviously you already know where to find me on Twitter here. You guys are already here. So we've got a lot of stuff planned going into this new year. I don't, like I said in my previous stream, I don't know how often I'm going to be able to be live in this beautiful new studio. But I'm still going to do my very best to get you guys as much live content as possible because of how much traveling this job does involve. So it's unfortunate, but sometimes we have to do what we have to do to bring home the bacon for our families. So I hope that I can still bring you guys at least one live video a day going into the new year. And at the very least, I'll be live on the weekends, guaranteed. But guys, just so you know, there's a discussion as well about possibly doing a New Year's Eve stream and kind of just having a bit of a party with you guys. Because for me, it's only going to be about 5 p.m. UK time. That would be 5 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Arizona time when it turns midnight for you guys in the UK. And a large bit of my audience at the moment is based in the UK. So we might do a bit of a New Year's Eve show and have a bit of a party. We'll open up some of the sparkling cider. Maybe we'll get a couple of beers in, and we'll see what people think. But guys, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you guys are just, having a great holiday season. We've got the new year coming up. I'm excited for it. But guys, just genuinely thank you for joining me. We'll see you guys live again tomorrow, guaranteed once, possibly twice. But guys, I hope that you guys all have a great night, a great day, wherever you're at and whatever you're doing. I hope you keep doing you because you guys are awesome. Thank you for joining us.